Davian and me. Hello, sir. Hello. What's going on? You look very blurry. Apart from that, everything's fine. How are you?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I need to work on this. I'm using a new laptop, so forgive me, folks. It's not set up fully yet. But
You may.
rest assured, come next week, I'll have a suitable and adequate studio. I've got the lightings, got microphone. So I'm just gonna go and get a desk tomorrow, and then
You may need to
Manny
buy
P
a
will be
separate.
around.
You may need to buy a separate webcam as well. I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I'll do that as well too. I mean,
Kills.
this delivery company, what is it? DH, it's like got the red logo on it on the
Mm-hmm.
vans. Well, they're putting Amazon to shame. These people, they're just like bang on with their delivery, and they message you while they're delivering it and message you after it's dropped off to say, yes, your item has been dropped off, even though you collect it yourself from them.
Have you been paid to promote this delivery company?
No, if I should be paid by anyone, it should be by Skull Candies, because I'm always rocking the Skull
um,
Candies
apparently, the
headphones.
blur makes you look younger, so it's working
Thank
for you.
you.
Yeah, apparently
Well, you
you
know what? We're going to keep the blur.
apparently you look about 80 normally when we do these streams. So at least today you look about 50.
Thank you, Manny. I see you're looking sharp with the new haircut and the glasses.
Yeah, I've gone for a total total change in
Assassin.
my look.
Yeah, you look like an assassin trying to fit in undercover, James
My
Bond.
God, you're the second person to this. My sister said to me today, "You've got those 1970s serial killer glasses." And then she,
Family love. Hey,
I
well,
know, I
technically, I'm
know,
like family, so it makes sense.
I know, it's terrible. It's terrible. I'm trying to look cool. I mean,
But you do look cool. The Duke is always cool.
if you remember the start of these, I had my hippie long hair, and you know,
Yeah, that sexy, I'm Manny P look. We just need the
um,
wind blowing and some rain.
so that's when I was party man. But I'm not party man anymore. But I tell you who is a party person. Thor.
And me.
Okay, and you, but we're here to talk about Thor, not you.
But tell the viewers just before we came online when I turned on the camera.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
I
That
had
that was
like, where have you been? But yes, yeah, nice transition there. But yes, that episode was well. Before I say, what did you make of that episode?
Do you know something? It was much needed actually. After three very good but dark episodes,
Yeah,
this was some. This felt great. This felt like some good relief. I don't think I could take a fourth episode just having T'Challa with his leg eaten off, or Rhodey being like murdered by Killmonger, or Doctor Strange through his grief destroying his entire universe. Uh, I don't think I could handle that level of heaviness anymore. So I think this comes in at just the right moment in the series. What about you?
yes, I thought it was. Well, for one, I mean, let's be real. I didn't know what to expect. Even for the final two that we're gonna be waiting for now, because it's 9 episodes. I don't have a clue what the other two will be about. I mean, as far as in my mind, I was just looking forward to like the Killmonger episode, as you were looking forward to the zombies. And I didn't actually do any research past those ones to see what possible other episodes there were to be or whatever. So I didn't know what to expect. So literally, I watched it literally about an hour ago because I was working, so I didn't get a chance prior to today. So I just watched it about an hour ago, and then I was like, oh, it was actually, like you said, it was much needed because the other episodes, the last 3 episodes, have been very, very dark. So far of the 7 episodes, this has been the most light-hearted episode out of everything that we've seen so far, and it was good as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Would you describe it as a filler episode?
Yeah, I mean, Kay just said it, perfectly. Yeah, it was a filler episode. I think it was something just to like, just get us relaxed before the last two, well, God knows what it will be about, So who knows? Maybe it's going to be something super dark, and but it was fun, Literally, it was a nice, fun episode. But also at the same time, it shows how if you take away one, a factor from the equation, everything changes completely because just by the sheer fact of Loki and Thor not living together, being raised together as brothers,
Yeah, so that
everything
was
is completely
so
changed.
that was the Nexus event essentially for this episode. That Thor never has an adopted brother in Loki. Instead, Odin leaves Loki with the Frost Giants, and that is the Nexus event that essentially turns Thor into a only child, and is
Yeah.
essentially displays all those characteristics which a spoiled only child has.
Not just, if you really look at it, also, it didn't just affect Thor, it affected everyone around because
Hmm.
you look at the Guardians of the Galaxy, we saw the Collector, he
Yep.
was there with them. So it's like the whole demographic has been changed completely.
Yeah. So it feels like his party attitude, as much as it is kind of destructive, like he destroys an entire planet, and I don't think we ever are assured that that planet was it inhabited or not. But it feels as though at the same time he's kind of taken people like Surtur, like a big demon, even turned Surtur into some kind of weird party demon that gets lecherous over the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was trying to get a girlfriend, but that's another story. But yeah, I mean, it just changed everything in terms of how the collectors there partying with them. So it's like you get to see a different side to all these people where,
Let's see who we
they
had
would
there.
never know.
Exactly, but let's see who we had the apartment. The Collector partying, had some of the Guardians partying. How the
Hmm.
Duck turns up and ends up getting married to Darcy,
Yeah.
which is yeah. I mean, I don't know how that's legal under U.S. law personally.
Well, look at the guy with the goat, with the
Yeah, but they
goat.
just became friends.
Oh yeah. That's how it starts off.
Sorry,
You know,
it's
he
like
was in a tub sleeping with a
it's,
bunch of goats.
it's like Kay's making excuses for Thor. The planet was due to die, so he had an end of the world party. Kay should become the publicist for Thor. Just
Yeah, the party in like 1999, literally
yeah.
like, the Millennium Party, literally.
Um, yeah, we had some scrolls turning up to the party. There were all
Yeah.
sorts. It felt as though he managed to actually unite the entire universe through partying, which sounds good on the surface, but you can only party so much in life, and you got to have some hard work, then some partying, hard work, then some partying. You can't have a life which is 100% partying.
it- it- I think it goes to show when you're royalty in some aspects, and like in his case, you're royalty for one, and also you're an only child.
A
So you
privileged
have
life.
you have a very privileged outlook on life. So to you, there's no consequences or repercussion. I mean, the consequences that he was worried about was his mom finding out or his daddy finding out. That literally was his biggest fear. He didn't fear Captain Marvel. He didn't fear going to war with whoever. He literally was just worried about, oh God, if mom finds out, I'm, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get a good telling off type of thing or whatever, which is typical behavior of like privileged only child.
A privileged
You know,
only child, yeah. He's had
yeah,
everything poured into him. Um, Another thing I liked as well though was that like Loki, because he never went with Odin, he was never like warmed as a baby, and he ends up turning into like full Frostite mode. But they still end up being like really close, which I thought was quite cool.
yeah. But the only thing I found strange about that was in before the what if, when we saw the story of why Odin took Loki also was in theory because the frost giants, they didn't really want Loki because he
He was
wasn't a
the runt
giant.
of the litter,
Yeah, and
essentially.
he was just like a regular size, which basically in a way is kind of like a freak outcast compared to them. So the only difference in this one is that he gave him to them. So unless they done something to actually made him, or he just magically developed some radical spurt grow spurt.
Maybe, hey, maybe Odin was like, "Hey, this is your baby. You know, you got to look after it and appeal to their more nurturing side."
I don't know what. So you're saying it's the nurturing side that made Loki grew to like 8, 10 foot, whatever the hell, like what
Hey,
height he
hey, it's
was there.
genetic potential. Just because you're born little doesn't mean you're. If you get the right nutrition as you're growing up as a child, you can still come back and be a huge baby.
That's actually you know what? That's actually true in a sense because you don't know what. Kind of like with Superman, how Superman being raised on Earth with the sun, we saw what that did to him. With the fact that he became strong, he had powers, as opposed to if he wasn't. Which I know, slightly going off topic here, but I watched one of those DC movies, and it had an episode where Superman was he came to Earth, but instead of being raised by, the Kents, he was actually kept by the government, and they had him like hidden in like what's that place called where they have all the, like all the conspiracy theorists says
Area
they've got.
51.
Yeah, like he's kind of like in an Area 51, but hidden inside, so he's away from the sun. So when you actually see him, he's actually like scrawny looking because he hasn't got none of that nutrient. So it goes to say that if you are actually in the environment where you're supposed to be, that will actually like nourish your growth.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You can actually be your potential.
When I done my anthropology degree, one of the things we talked about was something called going way off topic now, but there isn't a lot to talk about in this episode, so why the hell not? Um, we learned about genetic potential. So genetic potential is essentially when every single human being is born, or any organism for that matter, they have potential to be really strong or really tall as when they go past puberty. But a lot of that is decided by the nutrition they have growing up, how healthy they are growing up. Are they growing up in a healthy environment, which means they're not getting sick often,
Mm,
and stuff like that. So, for example, you know, people in, say, somebody's grown up, say, without good nutrition when they're growing up, potentially may have had the genetic potential to be 6 foot tall, but they only
correct.
hit 5'5" because, like, maybe their families weren't very well off and they couldn't afford like nutritious food and stuff like that. So
Mm,
yeah,
absolutely.
so yeah, like maybe because Loki was like born into royalty himself, um, he got all the good food and he got looked after well. But there was something cool about this episode, which I thought was very cool.
Well, it was cool overall, the episode
No, no,
itself.
I agree.
But there was quite a few things.
I thought it was a lovely episode. I really enjoyed the fight between Carol Danvers and Thor.
Was it really a fight, or was it more like it kind of looked like flirting in a way?
I've got everything's flowing to you.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe,
You probably think me and you having a
maybe.
conversation right now is flirting. Let me tell you right now, it's not.
Yeah, it's them serial killer slash super spy glasses right there, and they're just like, whoa.
Hey, you're only
But
human. You're only human. You're
no,
not making.
if you look at it, he wasn't. It's kind of similar to Shang-Chi's
No.
parents fight. Think about it. One is fighting with aggression, the other one isn't. It is. Watch it back again and you see. Was Thor really fighting? No, he wasn't. He was just very chilled, but she was like fighting. So she was more doing the Wing Chun and he was doing the Tai Chi.
I don't know how you've got a one track mind, my friend. That's what you've got. You've got a one track mind.
Hey, I'm just calling it like I see it.
Exactly, like you see it.
The world seen it that way. Bet I guarantee someone else on the internet is gonna say the same thing. Like, they were flirting.
Yeah, they probably have the same needs you have as well, I imagine. Um, Yeah, I personally didn't see it like that. I just saw a very angry Carol Danvers fight in a very laid back, chilled Thor, who probably didn't want to fight in all fairness, but kind of had to.
Exactly. He was mellow.
But he kind of had to because he wanted to get the fight over and done with, so he could carry on the party. That's not
Literally.
that's not flirting to me. Right.
Well, it is. He's like, oh, you're being a party pooper. He didn't use no profanity, didn't call her a wench. He
How's
didn't
that?
say anything like that.
How's that flirting?
He flirting. Come on.
Oh, come off it. Comments. Was he flirting?
Yes.
He
I bet someone else agrees with me. I sense it.
yeah, okay. Anyway, I thought the fight was really cool. I've really liked some of the bits behind it because Carol Danvers was obviously holding back as well. She says it. She could have quite easily have defeated Thor if she was allowed to.
No, let's not go that far.
No, it's true.
How could she defeat Thor?
The butt flirting. That's the entire premise of the episode. The fact that she says, "Look, I could easily just blow this guy up, but I'll have to cause a small."
No, she never said blow him up. She said she could destroy that.
Yeah.
Destroy.
Yeah, but it should have to blow up in the sense that it should have to cause a small nuclear explosion.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's going to kill him.
It would. If you saw in the previous episode one of Hawkeye's arrows killed him.
Yeah, but this is what if. That was a different what if. What could have happened then? No, in the sense that just like with Loki, how Loki's whole physiology is changed based on how he was raised. We don't know what other abilities. Being an only child, think about it now. He could have been spoiled more and had more access to power.
So let's get it straight. Because this is a what if episode, you have so far changed the rules of flirting and you change Thor's physiology.
In terms of his power. You don't know if he's got an extra power boost.
The American law system, which has enabled Howard the Duck and Darcy to get married.
Oh yeah, don't blame me for that one.
I'm blaming you for that.
Blame that one on the alcohol. He bought her a drink.
And
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
For that strange moment of, is it classed as bestiality?
I think so. But who's the beast? Howard or her?
That's a good point. On Howard's planet, I guess she'll be the beast.
He goes back home trying to bring her, Ma, I found me a nice girl. Oh, look at you. You went and picked up an animal.
For the record, Kat Dennings is in no way, shape, or form a beast of any kind.
She's cool.
In this universe, the enchantment on the hammer is different. Danvers not able to move the hammer. It is a bit different, isn't it? The enchantment of the hammer to the comics. I think in the comics, though, I'm right in saying she wouldn't have been able to move the hammer either.
Exactly. She's not holy. I don't know. No one is saying that she's holy or she's worthy.
No.
God knows what she's been doing in space.
Well, exactly. Like maybe she's got like a string of. Anyway, we'll leave that in space.
Yeah, don't touch that one, man. You just leave that there. But let's just say I would be surprised in some cases.
I think if Thor is wielding Stormbreaker, I think Stormbreaker could probably take out Carol Danvers.
Yeah, but she couldn't.
But Carol Danvers is ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, but she's not impervious to pain.
She's not impervious to pain, but she's more powerful than Thor.
Well, could she have gotten up from the hammer?
Because she's not worthy.
No, I'm not saying lift. So that means she would have been stuck then. Had he not taken it up, she would have been stuck.
Oh yeah, like the hammer brings Thor like a different type of power, and he outsmarted her in that fight. To be fair, but in terms of
my point, once he had the hammer on her,
Carol Danvers is far more powerful than Thor.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But once he had the hammer on her, could she have gotten up?
No. Like, if Thor was an evil person, he could have like stamped
killed her
or something. Yeah,
there you go. He could have done a bloody Omni-Man on her. just pummel her, literally. That would have been the greatest tag team match right there. Now, literally, her and what's his name? What's Omni-Man's Invincible? And then you've got Omni-Man and Thor. Thor puts the hammer on her, tag Omni-Man in, and we all know it's going to go from PG-13 to
That's
R-rated, literally, because he's gonna pummel her face in. She would have been dead if he was really evil. So,
that's some bizarre fantasy booking. Um,
hey,
you should
dream match.
now that you've got your own laptop, I think you can like start doing these videos yourself and just randomly
No,
start.
man, we're a team. I'm bringing you in it as well.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can do solo stuff. I've got a
We're the
solo project.
Titanic. We're sinking together.
I've got a solo Marvel project I'm going to be working on in the coming months. Um,
Wow.
I'll tell
Look
you
at
now.
that. He's got new. No, I'm glad you're letting everyone know. So you see, all of a sudden now, because the Duke has got fancy new glasses now, he's just branching out by himself now to do Marvel stuff by himself.
Yeah.
So this is a what if now, yeah. So you see, what if has made you got your own different version of the universe now for Marvel stuff, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. This,
Awesome.
David, do you know what this is? This is being a grown up, branching out by yourself, doing your own thing,
Mm,
being
you know what
independent.
this gonna be? A protest. We're gonna be outside your house with signs. Yeah. We're gonna be outside your house with signs. Obviously, while social distancing as well, too.
No, you don't need to social. I mean, you do if you. I mean, you should still be careful, but I mean, the restrictions are lifted. This form may not be able to wield MCU force. Absolutely, like the enchantment may be different in this universe compared to our MCU universe. There is actually a talking point from this episode, I think, which is quite interesting. But before we go on to that, is there anything else you want to mention about this episode? Any kind of like nice, cool quirks? Because I do think there is a
Well,
big talking point from this episode.
well, I'm just wondering then, based on this scenario, that would probably mean that the Avengers wasn't
Form.
created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that actually links on to what I was going to say. So the episode ends, and if everybody thinks because things are getting back to normal and all's well that ends well, suddenly a portal opens and a bunch of Ultron kind of sentries walk through. Then you see this kind of Vision Ultron kind of combined character walking through with all of the Infinity Stones embedded
In his
into its
chest.
outer shell. And it's like, oh my god, that's come from somewhere else. And interestingly, New Rockstars picked this up. That it's quite interesting that Uatu's watching it, and he's like laying back. Because if you look at the other episodes, he tells you what's going to happen later on in that universe. In the other episodes, like he already knows what happens in the future. But in this one, he's actually surprised to see Vision Ultron walk through the portal, suggesting that even Uatu's like, yeah, this isn't meant to happen in this particular universe. Now, looking at some of the trailers for some of the upcoming episodes, it looks like for Captain Carter and potentially Bad Doctor Strange actually are all going to meet up.
That's what I was thinking. It looks like it's something like this that's gonna happen. And what about Shumagorath?
Well, exactly. So Shumagra may play a part. The other thing we have to consider as well is if Ultron Vision used the Infinity Stones to cross to a different universe, which we never knew they could do, but apparently it can do that, and that means that potentially those gems can be used in a different universe, it seems. Could Zombie Thanos, if he gets hold of that last gem, could he actually use the gem to basically go to a different universe and spread zombieism across the multiverse? Discuss.
Interesting. What I think is it's kind of like with I'm trying to think of the show.
Yeah, you got to say words.
Like okay, for instance, like The Mask. You remember The Mask with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Do you remember the premise of how it works, which is basically based on your powers and your abilities is based on your personality. So whatever is your desire, it will actually manifest those.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Jim Carrey's character was more like a carefree, fun,
yeah,
guy, he became that. When the villain had it, who was more dark, it became dark. So I'm wondering if the stones, the Infinity Stones, work in similar fashion. So because Vision's Infinity Stone, what he had was the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if on that premise it made him more intelligent in the sense that he had a wider scope of how to potentially use them as opposed to someone who didn't have the Mind Stone as their first one, which would basically give them greater knowledge. So because of
Um,
that, he's now able to possibly know that you can do things rather than just snap your fingers and destroy half the galaxy. You could now transcend universes.
yeah, so I
Basically, you've
don't
got no limits.
so I don't think a person's personality affects the Infinity Stones because I think those stones are so powerful and they're basically they're like basically they're part of the universe essentially. So no one's person can affect the stones. But what you're correct about is that obviously the way those stones are used is down to that individual's
Mm,
personality and what they deem those stones should be used for. So Ultron obviously has this. He just wants to wipe out kind of humanity because he just sees humanity as terribly flawed or weak. Remember, flawed and weak are the same thing. Don't make that mistake again. You embarrassed yourself last time. Don't make that mistake again. Um, now,
the new glasses have changed you this week.
now Thanos, he has a desire as a zombie. I guess his desire has changed from deleting half the universe to making more zombies and having more flesh to feed on. I'm assuming, or maybe it's actually to delete 50% of the zombies. I don't know. I don't know, but that's his new desire. So essentially, you've got two bad guys in the multiverse, in the what if multiverse, who have both in different ways. They want to achieve the same thing, and that is wiping out humanity.
I think Thanos's whole um, premise was just not on humanity; it was just about
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the
fairness.
zombie,
So it
because
wasn't
he's a
just
zombie
based
now.
on humans only.
Yeah, but because
Whereas
he's a zombie now,
Ultron, yeah, but
his
Ultron
intention may have
specifically had
changed.
a disdain for human.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that because Thanos is a zombie now, his
Mm.
intentions as to why he's doing what he's doing may have changed.
Yeah, but then surely, I mean, logic would state that if you've got those Infinity Stones, which means you can basically do anything, why not just snap and say, you know, I never want to be hungry again? And you're never hungry again. The end. You don't need to wipe out anyone. You're never hungry.
I mean, that's what I'll do. I'd be like, yeah, I don't want to be a zombie anymore. Like, but I think the entire concept of being a zombie is kind of like I think being a zombie is kind of like a metaphor for like an addiction, whereas the only thing on your mind is that desire, whatever that desire is when you're addicted. So if you're a zombie, your only kind of thought process is towards more flesh to eat. Um, so maybe those
But
thoughts
again,
about turn me human or anything similar wouldn't enter his mind because of the way a zombie's mindset is. I mean, I've never spoken to a zombie. I've never like sat down with one and had a chat.
that could be our next podcast, our first interview.
We'll get a zombie
Their
on.
chat. Their chats. Our first guest, Thanos the Zombie.
Could we just make
Tune
sure
in at
though it's on
8.
StreamYard and not in person because that could
Yeah,
get messy.
literally. No, but I mean that's interesting. But again, they would have to explain how he became a zombie. If it was in on Earth that happened, or if this was indeed, like we've said, the virus was an actual living entity. So it was able to travel through once it came into from the quantum realm, it was able to then leave our atmosphere and could go all across the universe.
I mean,
Because apart from that, how else would you're telling me that just some regular person came and bit Thanos and gave him that? Because it wasn't the Avengers, because they were being taken out anyway by those guys. So the Avengers was already busy. the zombie Avengers. So who else would it be to powerful enough to actually do that? Unless you're gonna say it's possibly maybe the X-Men, someone else who we haven't seen, because it would have to be someone powerful to be able to do that.
Like you've watched Walking Dead, like people become zombie fire, just turning a corner and there's a zombie there and it has a little nibble on you.
Thanos was doing some shopping,
It's
Recon
a,
go inside a place, got distracted.
it's a bit like being in a London nightclub.
Yeah, got caught out, went to the wrong hood. In LA, one of those Crips or blood zombies ran upon him.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think you're right. I think like it would be nice to know how Thanos became a zombie, but I actually don't think it's that important to that particular story.
Well, it would be if they're going to bring that character back.
I have a feeling they will because in one of the trailers, Thor does shout out zombies. Um, Party Thor does. So I have a feeling that the zombies are going to make an appearance.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got no issue with that happening if that's the case. But my thing would be, again, the same way we actually got a detailed explanation as to why Doctor Strange became evil Doctor Strange, and you saw that metamorphosis happening, it would actually make sense if they're bringing back zombie Thanos. Just spend 5 minutes. You don't have to give us 10 or 15. We know the episode is only going to be maybe about 30 minutes, 35 minutes long. Take 5 minutes out of it just to explain how he became a zombie.
So my brother says not really. Ant-Man and his henchman got turned. So yeah, I mean, you can be in a zombie apocalypse. It's quite easy to get turned.
Ant-Man got turned, didn't he get attacked?
I can't remember. It was so long ago. Um, but no, it is quite easy. But so one of the theories knocking around the internet is that we might see a situation because we were discussing it last week. Is Uatu is he going to get involved? And we felt as though that he was showing up more and more in each episode. Like you were noticing more in the background, and he's not at my window today, which is good. He was there
Just
yesterday.
watching.
He was there yesterday, and I had to pull the blinds down whilst I was getting dressed.
Yeah, I'm just checking mine now just to see because I was shirtless before the podcast started. So God, I hope he wasn't. I hope he wasn't by my window.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. It wasn't Ant-Man. It was actually Wasp. But yeah, so it's a theory that maybe Uatu, because Uatu does look surprised when Vision Ultron walks in through the portal. So maybe he's thinking like, no, that's not going to happen. So maybe like Uatu actually puts together, maybe it's actually Uatu who puts together a team of Party Thor, Captain Carter, gives Doctor Strange an opportunity to redeem himself.
Yeah, but then he should take the L for that, not Doctor Strange, because potentially he would have known that what would have happened to Doctor Strange, correct? And he would have known how that would have ended.
Well, this is the thing. He's not allowed to interfere, so he'll be
So you're
breaking.
not allowed to interfere. So you'd rather watch the whole universe gets destroyed because you're like, well, my job here is only to watch.
Hey,
Really?
the brother took an oath. The brother took an oath.
He goes back, gives his report. So what happened? Well, I was tempted to help, but I didn't because I'm a man of principle. And I followed through to my job all the way to the end. So what exactly I just watched them all die?
Yeah.
While he cried for help.
But I think this is going to be the thing, though. I think this is going to reach a point now where I think Watu's going to see multiple universes being destroyed by all these threats, whether it be zombies, whether it be Ultron, Vision Ultron, whether it be potentially Shumagorath. I think he's just going to be like, okay, I can live with like one or two universes being destroyed, but I can't live with the entire multiverse potentially being destroyed.
Yeah, who am I going to watch then? I won't have anyone to watch. Like, I mean, I care
Yeah.
about lives. You're like,
That's
really,
what it
dude?
says here. He'll be out the job if he didn't interfere. Like, he'll be like, who's going to pay me if like I don't have anything to watch?
Turns up at a job interview, like, yeah. So, what was your last job? Yeah, I was a overseer. What does that mean? Yeah, I was a watcher. You mean like a voyeur, pervert? Yeah, yes, kind of like that, but not quite. I had other responsibilities, such as, well, I narrated to the viewers at home, and then I went back and I gave a report. So, how did that? Was that a secondment? How did that end? Well, I stood by, even though Doctor Strange asked me for help, and I watched the universe collapse and destroyed. And ta-da! Here I am.
I think this is the point as well. He's actually as powerful as Uatu is. He's not powerful enough to stop these threats. Um, he's just a big bald guy who's can live long, essentially.
Watching people
Yeah, watching
and
people
getting
isn't a
close. But
watching
he's
people
getting
isn't a
closer
power.
while he's watching.
What?
He's getting closer. Remember, when he first started, he was
Yeah,
way
yeah,
in the back. And now he's just getting too comfortable with his job. Now he's just getting closer and closer.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's obviously getting a little. You know how like when you go on safari and they say to you, you can't interfere. If the lion's about to eat a baby gazelle, you're not allowed to break up that situation because it's
Mm.
nature taking its course, and that's the watcher as well. That's how he sees himself. He sees it as just nature taking its course, and he's just documenting it all. But like in the comics, Uatu falls in love with humanity, and I can't remember what I think it might have been a Galactus situation, and he actually intervenes and he gets into trouble with the Watcher Council, which is just a group of bald men, as you can
Perverts
imagine.
watching, going back and discussing how they all watched and who watched better.
Well, I reckon it's just a gossip, isn't it? I would guess, and then guess what he done. You're never gonna believe it.
But that's so true, Literally, if you really break it down, that's exactly what they are, like some agony aunts. Just sit there, watch, meet up, having a, afternoon tea in a fancy hotel and just sit there. Oh my God, did you see what happened in my universe? You would never believe it.
God, then guess who he cheated with? Like, it was shocking.
I can just see it there. You're gonna have one ghetto one as well, one of them ghetto. Nah, he didn't. With that hussy? You're like, yep, he did. He sure did. Yeah, I
You
can
reckon?
see that now.
You reckon the ghetto ones were in the do rag?
Definitely.
I reckon he's the only one sat around there in the do rag. And I reckon as well when Matty goes for his job interview, he's still wearing the same clothes which he wears during the what if episodes. And the job interview was like, what are you wearing? Like, just
Yeah,
like makes a note straight away, not hiring this guy. If this
yeah.
is
It's
what he's
like,
going to
didn't
wear
you,
to work
didn't
every
you read
day.
the memo? It says suit and tie.
It's just a
Like,
smart
no,
dress. This is smart for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they end the last two episodes and if there will be a season two.
There is a
So
season
that
two.
will probably determine
Season two.
whether or not what stories they may use and what characters.
Season two's confirmed. So I think the last couple of episodes. What episode was this? Was episode
7.
7? So we've got 8 and 9 left. So I think the last two episodes were essentially going to be Watu kind of forming together this team of Captain Carter, um, Party 4, Bad Doctor Strange, and maybe even T'Challa Star-Lord, potentially. And kind of...
Well, not for season 2.
No, for the last two episodes.
Oh, for the last 2 episodes.
Yep, pay attention.
No, I'm just wondering now if that was probably the case where, I mean, I wonder if they already had season 2 planned before, T'Challa, I mean,
Chadwick.
Chadwick's passing. And I'm wondering if maybe how the episodes was going to end, would have had more on him for season two. So I'm wondering if that means that they would have probably had to
Yeah, it's a good point.
rewrite rewrite the last two to basically end it with him, so his story is done, and then they can go in a different direction. Because even though it's voice acting, like we said, you'll still get people who might still feel a bit funny about your the voice actor being replaced by
Yeah,
someone else.
I think that's one. I think you just got to take the L on. I think you just
Me?
got. No, not me, not you. I mean, just like people in general.
Oh, because I'm taking too many L's now. I'm like, what did I do this time? I can't take an L for this one. No, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I think my brother makes a point here. There's a whole backlog of stories for What If. So if this season ends um kind of like with two episodes that kind of string all these stories together, then in season two we can go back to just one-off What If episodes, which are just about maybe stories like because we might have a Shang-Chi What If in season two. We might have a kind of a Spider-Man
that's what
What
I was
If.
saying earlier.
Yeah,
Unless the last two episodes, they're gonna branch out with more characters, basically stating that there'll be a wider um scope of characters for season two, which would then branch out into possibly like, Young Avengers, um Dark Avengers,
yeah. So
the X-Men possibly,
all these things, the
because
Eternals. So the Eternals maybe will be out by then.
yeah,
You could have stuff about the Eternals. You've got the
Venom.
well, we're going to talk about that in a second. We'll talk about after we wrap up this. We'll have a quick little chat about Venom.
No,
Um,
no, I'm just saying what, Venom is part, it could be in a what if he didn't get, he didn't become Venom, that possibly could be in season two as well,
yeah. So we'll, we'll,
because
talk,
we
we'll
won't know
touch
what will happen by then.
we'll touch upon Venom quickly in a second to wrap up. Um, so yeah, like as well, like we got the Marvel TV show. So you could do what if stories about maybe Hawkeye, or you could do what if stories about Falcon and Winter Soldier from those actual TV series. Like here's a good one. What if the Eternals interfered? What if the Eternals got involved in the Battle of New York, or they got involved in the final Endgame battle with Thanos? Like, could
Well,
that
I
lead
think
to a
once
situation where the Celestials invade Earth and try to take out planet Earth and try to take out the Eternals?
I think what will work once we see the Eternals movies and hear their reason, because I'm pretty sure they'll probably touch on that
But they
as
say in
to
the trailer,
why.
don't they? They say that like the Celestials have told them not to interfere
Right.
in
So
humanity's business.
then but then it wasn't just humanity's business, was it? It was affecting everyone.
Yeah, and I think, and yeah, in the trailer you do see that scene where I think Dane Whitman, the Black Knight, asks them, "Where were you guys when all this was going down?" And they were like, "Oh, we were told not to interfere." And I'm sure, and it's a valid point. Where were you guys? Even if you were told not to interfere, like the Watcher, you still should have interfered. There's too many people in the MCU just willing to sit on their hands and do nothing. That's what I've learned so far.
I was going to say something else, but I'm not trying to get in trouble, so I won't. But yeah, there are too many watchers,
Yeah, yeah. I
too
mean,
many
yeah.
people watching.
Excuse the pun.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next two episodes will be about.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I think it's going to be all sewed together quite nicely. So, anything else about this episode before I quickly talk about Venom?
Um, it was just a much needed chilled episode for
Yeah, Crystal.
everyone, because from one to six has been very serious and in some way, shape, or form. So I mean, one to three was quite serious. Then you get 4 to 6 was quite dark. So you just needed something light, to lighten the mood. And then now you can go into the last two,
You can go
and
back into it.
yeah, it will just get deep.
It's like when you go and watch like a big rock band playing. They'll start off their set with like absolute bangers that get the crowd moving. Then they will, in the middle part, they'll slow down the set and they'll play with their kind of slower songs, maybe have an acoustic bit, and then at the end they'll just go back to a few bangers to finish off the show. I think that's the same kind of pacing. This What If season one is having.
Yeah, I'll compare it to WrestleMania in Orlando a few years ago when the Hardys returned. The Hardy Boys returned,
Oh yeah,
and literally, other matches, you had matches was getting mixed reaction. Some the crowd was really into, some it was just like, oh, nice. But then once the Hardys came out, which that wasn't supposed to be like a huge match, but because of the excitement of the fans for the Hardy Boys, based on how hot they were at the time, it made the next match, which was like a main event match, was like the Undertaker match, which would normally get a huge reaction. Like literally everyone was just out of energy because they were
yeah,
so pumped for the Hardy Boys. So, you know, that's when you would have needed probably like a filler match
yeah. It's something to just bring the
and then
crowd
get you,
down. Yeah,
yeah,
like this. It's just something to bring us down to just get us ready for something bigger coming up.
yeah.
So just quickly talk about Venom. So I actually haven't seen Venom 1. I'll explain why, because I personally get a bit saturated with just watching superhero stuff. So I limit the superhero stuff I watch. So the only superhero stuff I watch is rarely only MCU stuff, which is confirmed to be MCU canon and
Yeah.
Homelander. You know what I mean? Um, the boys. That's the only. Oh, and Invincible. That's probably the only stuff I watch which is super, because otherwise it just gets too much, and I need to
Yeah.
watch and read other stuff as well. Um, but apparently, in the end credits of Venom 2, something huge happens. Something
Mm.
really big happens. Um, I'm guessing it's
MCU
something
big?
that I'm thinking maybe it's something that connects the Sony universe to the Disney Marvel universe.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, because people who have seen like um the movie already, like like the showings they do just for like select people, have said like I've never seen so many shocked people from a Marvel movie after
Oh
the end
my word.
credits.
I'm
So
looking
I'm
forward
going
to
to
that.
so I'm going to try and track down a way to watch Venom 1, and I'm actually going to watch Venom
You got
2.
Sky.
Hmm?
You got Sky TV.
Yeah,
Then it should be on Sky Premiere.
that's
I
good.
mean Sky Movies. If you
That's
go
good.
into like the archives.
That's good. So yeah, and I think we should do a video for that.
For Venom 2.
Yeah, like before and after, like us, like.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We do like,
But this time
well,
it'll be
didn't we
full of
we
spoilers.
plan to go and see that in Eternals, isn't it? So we could
Yeah,
do much like what we did for Shang-Chi,
yeah,
like before we enter the cinema
yeah,
and after, and then yeah, we'll just do a podcast like on it like a week later. So we'll give fans a chance to actually go and watch it before we actually discuss it with
yeah,
spoilers.
yeah. So, brother says here, everything that was Marvel can now be considered MCU canon. I'm hoping the 70s Spider-Man show to be in No Way Home. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Oh God, you mean the one with the ropes that they used to use for the web?
That'd be funny. That'd be funny. Maybe even like Firestar and Iceman. They will like do that as well. Um, but yeah, no,
Or
absolutely.
Thor?
So like you
Remember
could,
Thor? Sorry, you remember
yeah,
Thor from the Incredible Hulk? movies in the is it the 90s, late
80s.
80s? Yeah, 80s. And Thor couldn't fly. He was just running, always running, but like on a beach on the
Yeah.
sand. Oh my lord.
Well, this is the thing now, but now, like, you could potentially, in Loki, for example, travel to that Lou Ferrigno kind of Hulk universe and just be like, man, things in this universe just never got beyond the 1980s, and just like, and the physics here work differently.
Well, 100%. Because remember, you had vintage Loki with the man bag,
Yeah,
wearing the old school
yeah, 100%.
brief over the suit, over the tights costume. So that can happen.
God, I hope they bring him back. I hope they bring him back.
Yeah.
He was awesome. He was amazing. So
But we'll
yeah,
see what happened in season two.
so I'm quite excited to actually go and watch Venom now, because I think there's a big possibility they're going to start crossing things over.
Yeah, check it out, man. One is really good. And also, Eminem did an amazing track for Venom 1 for the soundtrack. It was absolutely amazing.
Already?
Yeah. And Killer Mike as well. Yeah, Killer Mike did a track as well. Or I think Killer Mike is in the track with Eminem. He might be in the track with Eminem, but it was an amazing track.
Who's Billy Bixby again?
I don't even know.
I think he's an old school actor. So,
I have
yeah.
to
So
Google it.
and just so you know, my little project I want to do, which is going to probably take me ages to do. So I really used to. My time of reading comics is like the 80s and 90s stuff, and
Yeah, I
some of the
know.
late naughty stuff was really good. Oh, I see. I see. Bill Bixby was the original Doctor Banner. Okay, right. Um, Now, in the comics, there was this villain team, which I really used to like, called the Serpent Society, but they're really cheesy. like by today's standards, they would be really cheesy to have in a Marvel movie. But I want to kind of make a video that kind of um, basically saying this is how I would bring the Serpent Society into the MCU.
Okay.
Yeah, and there is a way to do it. There is a way to do it. I have thought about it. So essentially, they're like a villain in the Captain America comics. Um, and as you can imagine, each member of the Serpent Society um, is a snake of some kind.
That actually sounds cool.
I think they're one of the best villain groups Marvel's ever created, personally, but that's just my opinion. And their leader was a dude named Sidewinder, and he had a cloak which enabled him to transport himself to other anywhere on the planet, basically. So none of the so all of the Serpent Society um, were confident that they could never be incarcerated, because as soon as they got incarcerated, Sidewinder would just teleport and get them out.
Yeah, no congestion charge, no
Yeah,
Uber fare, nothing.
yeah, all of that, and they had some cool people. Death Adder, one of my favorite villains ever. He was just like this kind of enhanced thing. He was like green, and he had like claws which were tipped in poison. And he had a tail which was poisonous, and yeah, he was cool. And but there was one character called Diamondback. She didn't have special powers, but she was a good fighter, and she had like these little like diamond things she would like throw at you to hurt you. But the story gets quite deep, but she essentially becomes a love interest for Captain America in the comics. But you also find out that basically Crossbones, who is in the MCU was in the MCU as well, essentially groomed her as a child.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's quite a deep story. So yeah, I think I'm kind of thinking about maybe that kind of Diamondback avenue to be a way into kind of getting the Serpent Society into the MCU. But yeah, that's something I'm going to work on in my own
Oh,
time.
it's fine, man. Let me know. Since we're not allowed to be in it, I'll just bombard the chat with questions about it,
It's not
asking
going to
all
be a
kind of
live video. I'm
questions.
just going to like record bits of it in my spare time.
Okay. Oh, so you just put it up on there. That's
Yeah,
not bad.
yeah. Brother says the Serpent Society was actually a successful criminal group. King Cobra becomes their leader. So yeah, essentially, Sidewinder then gets overthrown by Viper, and then Viper basically gets arrested by Captain America. Then Cobra takes over. But the Serpent Society used to make their money by being guns for hire for other criminal groups. So the first time you see them is AIM, Advanced Ideas Mechanics, who you know from the MCU. Do you know a character called MODOK? Big head.
Modog.
It's got a little kind of contraption he flies around in.
Was he in X? Has he been in X-Men?
No. But anyway, MODOK was the leader of AIM. And their first mission is that they go out and they have to kill MODOK and assassinate him. And they just take him out straight away. And Captain America gets there too late. And he's already dead by the time Captain America gets there. Captain America tries to beat a few of them up, but obviously Sidewinder just gets them out of there. But yeah, MODOK, also known as Big Ed. Yeah, they're just a cool group. I don't know why they don't get more love in the Marvel universe, personally speaking. But I want to bring the Serpent Society back, so that's going to be my little task to myself.
Post it up, innit? I'm interested. It sounds interesting anyway. I'm actually have a look on YouTube after to find out, see, because there's always someone that's going to do a video on it. I'll check that out.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've exhausted episode 1, episode 7.
7.
Yeah. Say goodbye.
Yes, folks, goodbye. We will see you all next week. And my videos will be a lot better because many people will be here next week to help fine-tune everything.
Yep. Okay. I'm just trying to work out how to say goodbye. There you go.